Hi, Professor. This is our, third discussion. I'm Aiden, Bailey, Emma, and Levi.
Alright, let's go. Initial reactions to the film. I guess I can start. To me, it's always kind of eye-opening, like watching these films and kind of like just seeing, I guess, like the way things like really are, but like I guess I just was like, I feel like I'm just like so used to like, I guess seeing like the way like, I don't know, I guess I might get lost for words, but like, I guess I'm just so used to the difference in how like men and women are portrayed that like I really don't ever like actually recognize it, because to me that's just like how it is.
Yeah, it's just
That makes sense. Yeah. Sorry, that was bad.
Yeah, no, I thought it was super interesting too, because I mean we were just like deciding on our final project, and like it's gonna be this sort of issue. So I thought this movie was like super cool to watch, and I found it super interesting, and it kind of just like helped me like build ideas about, or not really build ideas, but like help me like get a better understanding of what the issue is, and like how we could solve, or how it can be not solved, but how we can like narrow this gap in media representation. And not just that, but like how women are portrayed in sports media, and like kind of equal it out to between men and women.
Yeah, I was just playing unfair brought up a bunch of just very good points about underrepresentation of female athletes in women's sports, and just like continued misrepresentation of women from like just like the start of female sports with male sports and everything. But I think with like male sports being dominated by journalism, and I guess it also talks about I guess critiques towards sexism and homophobia. It's like important that the film talks about it, because even today it's still very prevalent in our society that there are still these issues, and that change needs to be made. And even though there was Title is IX 7? 9? Yeah, so that's horrible. Even with Title 9 like being passed, there's still not like a significant amount of change that's been made since it. I think the film does a good job of talking about that.
Sure. So how does the portrayal of female athletes in Plain Unfair, like how do you guys think it reflects broader societal attitudes towards women in sports? And it also says, in what ways do these media representations of female athletes contribute to the perpetuation of gender stereotypes and biases? So like how does this media representation kind of build into like biases that people have?
I feel like it goes just a lot along the lines of like, we focus less on the performance because like that doesn't matter, and like we focus on the things like like we sexualize women, and we're like, I don't know, just keep like portraying that image that women are like soft, and women are like pretty and weak, like all those kind of things.
I think it like kind of builds into like the idea that the most popular female athletes are the most like sexually attractive ones. Like I mean, not necessarily. I don't think that's necessarily true, but in a lot of cases, a lot of female athletes like gain notoriety because of their looks, and not because of how good or like how talented they are at their sport, which is just, and like the media kind of builds on that, and they use that for like clicks and views.
I feel like I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I don't know, I feel like someone that comes to mind is like literally like exactly what I was gonna say. Like
she's blowing up just because of her looks.
Oh yeah.
Which I mean, it's not necessarily like, it's not taking anything away from her. I feel like her ability. Yeah, like she's definitely still super talented, but it's what?
No, this is like so irrelevant. Keep going.
Okay, but no, but it's not taking away anything from her like athletic ability. But there's, I mean, tons of like world-renowned gymnasts that haven't gotten 1/100th of much notoriety as Lily Dunn has.
And they're probably like they could be
they
like
could
way
be better. Yeah, and it's just like
I feel like it definitely goes both ways though. Like you know, like people that may not be seen as in society as like beautiful or whatever, like don't get the like what they should be getting for
Yeah.
social media.
I agree.
I mean, I'll also say that like societal attitudes like want women to be more coy and like I don't know, like loud or abrasive or whatever you want to call it, but like attitudes from society don't want to break the stereotypes, and I would say that went along with playing fair from my opinion, but Martha, comments?
Well,
Mhm.
kind of just what I said about how it goes both ways, and
Yeah. I just think like one more thing was like how it impacts like younger girls, like because even a young woman that's like wants to grow up and be say a professional soccer player, and then she sees her idols who are professional soccer players, and all that she sees online and in the media is like how attractive they are, and like the ones that are more attractive are getting like more known and like more talked about, and it could totally just like discourage them from even like pursuing their goals and stuff. Just be like, oh well, I gotta be pretty to like be famous, so might as well just like not even try my sport.
Yeah.
Which I think is just sad.
it also could like make them start like focusing on the wrong things. Like, oh, like if I get like more pretty, then like I'll be better at the sport or something like that, or to get into
Yeah.
the like I don't know.
Yeah, the person that I used to like my interview that I conducted was like she like brought up a lot of like instances where it's like she was told to focus on like the way she looks and like how she presents herself rather than just like being prepared mentally for like competition or something like that, which I thought was completely backwards, like guy sports or male sports.
Yeah, I feel like that's actually like such a good point. Like I feel like you mentioned because like yeah, I feel like if like I don't know, at least in my experience in sports, like I was always striving, like obviously like I wanted to be competitive, do good, to like get that gold medal or whatever
Yeah.
you're like fighting for. But like if like me winning that was kind of diminished to like stuff about just like how I look and stuff, I don't know, it's just like it's like almost like what's the point of winning?
Yeah,
Like, why not just shove the
yeah.
out of the
Why don't I just like focus on looking pretty, you know?
what's the thing where it's like the chicks and like based off who the prettiest is and like when
the beauty pageant?
yeah, like it's
Oh.
like a beauty pageant. It's
Yeah.
not like a sports game or
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah.
want to characterize that.
And yeah, I mean, I feel like that. I feel like it just adds a whole nother like element because like, dude, when I went out and compete, like I would be so like beat up, like I look terrible.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, and like I didn't focus on my appearance at all, but I can imagine like having to like try to focus on your appearance. Like focusing on your appearance is like, I feel like that's hard. Like you know, when I try to like look good, like it takes time. I don't know. It's just like
It's distracting from
Time,
like
yeah,
from
it messes
being
with your, like,
competitive.
yeah, it messes with your mentality too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I also remember like vividly from under like my notes like if you're not dirty after the game then you weren't trying. Like inferring it only like worse than better is what it came
Yeah.
off as, you know. What's the next question? How have we made I know. In what ways do these media representations of female athletes contribute to the
We
representation?
kind of talked about that one.
Okay, skip that one. Oh, and biases, yeah. Analyze the differences in media coverage between male and female athletes. What
Well, I think-
disparities exist, and what impact do they have on the perception of women's sports?
I think that I mean there's a lot of disparities between male and female coverage in the media, and like obviously when people think about it, like when that topic like is just thought about or brought up, it's normally about like the volume disparity and like how much more men are in the media than or like male athletes are in the media than women athletes. But obviously like we've learned this week especially that it's not just that, it's like I don't even know how to say it, but like the quality of like how they're being covered in the media, because like even if like female athletes are being covered in the media, it's like normally because of like how of their appearance or like is focused on like how they look and that and whatnot.
With
Yeah.
like a small exception being like Serena Williams or like Caitlin Clark. That'd be like the top female athletes in, I don't know, media as it is.
I feel like when I think about it too, like I could definitely name off a lot more male athletes than female. Like I
Yeah,
would have a hard time like being like, oh, like, yeah, I know this tennis player, you know what I mean? Like it's like, or volleyball player, like I feel like I just like know way more male. It's like athletes for
Like,
sure.
I feel like I could name maybe like every football team. I could name one football team for girls, like one basketball team.
Exactly.
At the
WNBA
professional
team.
level. Yeah, I just couldn't name a WNBA
Yeah,
team.
yeah, I definitely agree. Like,
And you guys are guys that probably watch sports all the
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah,
Like-
and it's not even because like I don't want to like watch something like that. Like
It's also there's not like a lot of opportunities to watch.
exactly,
True.
like since like you gave the example of Caitlin Clark. Like since she's been in the WNBA, I've seen probably 10 times more stuff about the WNBA
Yeah.
on my like Instagram than I ever had before. Like I couldn't name one team before. Now I know
I
like
don't think I could
five
name a player.
yeah, like now I know five
Yeah.
because they've been covered in the media, so it actually has an impact on like how like what people know
and how many people like watch it.
and yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, I like so agree with that. Like all the sports pages I follow, like, I mean, I like this year I didn't even have like a crazy amount of time to like watch like my, you know, I like watching a lot of football, but like I didn't have a lot of time to watch that. But like, you know, I could go on Instagram, like just check the
catch
feed
up
and stuff,
on it,
and like
yeah, totally.
I still could name so many like more like say NFL athletes from like my feed, and like they'll still add posts about like Caitlin Clark, like
But
WNBA
that's just
stuff.
like one person. Of,
But yeah,
every-
like it's just yeah, there is a huge coverage difference, and like I liked in like this week's lecture and like one of the videos like the professor showed, like I liked how like they were asking like not the NFL but like the male athletes some of the questions they asked female athletes.
Yeah,
And like just getting their reactions, it was just like, dude, I can't imagine like when Russell Westbrook was asked like, you like tell us about your outfit, like give us a twirl, something like that, and he was just like, bro, what? Like, you know, he like completely like blew off the question, you know. So like that was like really just like
That's
it's
like
crazy to see. Yeah.
That's like a constant question for females.
Mhm.
It just doesn't go both ways. Let's see here.
Yeah, but it's also, you kind of think about it in that way too, like what you said, like the guys kind of can blow it off and just be like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you asking me? That's stupid. But like girls like can't do that. Like they have to answer that question, and you know what I mean? Like if they were gonna blow it off, people would be like, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's like what's socially acceptable. Like that's
Yeah.
like the norm.
Yeah, exactly.
And like yeah, those are how those kind of questions are like set up.
Yeah.
And it also says here, like, have we made any progress as a society? And like, while you would want to think that we have, what was it in the lecture video? It like went through like a couple decades of like media coverage between male and female athletes, and it showed that really we haven't made any progress, which is just kind of crazy to think about because. Why, like, you might think that you see, like, change in like, the media and whatnot. It's, like, so minimal that it's not actual change. And, like, that's just so sad to think about because it's 2024 now, and it's, like, you think, like, oh, it's, like, everyone's equal now. Like, a lot of people, like, think that and say that. And it's just so far from the truth. Like, I think it was, I don't remember the exact, like, statistic, but, like, the disparity between male and female athletes in the media is like the same as it was in like 1990.
I think it was talking something like 30 years ago, and it was talking about the change at two levels. Like one went up from like 30 years ago to now, and then the other went down.
Yeah.
And the difference of the two levels was just with the way technology's increased and, like, and everything. Like you'd think that there'd be enough.
I think a lot of it too is like people are definitely more like social media brings people more aware of those situations,
Yeah.
but like I don't think it's really changed. Like nothing's being changed.
It
but at
hasn't,
least-
it just hasn't changed as much as it should.
Yeah, and I think people think it does because of like being more aware of it. I guess that's what I'm saying. But
I feel like this kind of adds to like something, like a huge like insight. Like I feel we've talked about already was like like when the media doesn't cover like women as much, like their voices aren't heard as much too.
Yeah,
you
super
know.
good point. Well, I think you're saying something in the video where it's like, the more you popularize and show the like male sports, the more people like become invested and then continue to watch. So it's just like this like linear increase of.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's like anything in the media. Like the more you show it, the more people hear about it and see it, the more people are gonna watch it and care about it. Like it's just common sense. Like it doesn't matter what it is. It could be literally anything. That's just how the world works. So it's just like really unfortunate that they just have such an like a bad disparity in the media.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't know. I feel like then at some point, I don't know. I feel like you could tie in like money to it too. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's making them earn less money.
Like at some point, like people are driven by like, oh, what's gonna get like the most views? How can I get like the most money?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. What's our next one? Explore the concept of sexualization, objectification, the media's portrayal of female athletes. How does this affect their credibility and legitimacy as athletes? I mean, I would like. Go back to Instagram like you were talking about, but I don't know if it discounts their credibility. I would just say it kind of draws it towards other aspects of the person or of the woman. So for like Livy Dunn, like everybody acknowledges that she's a gymnast, but that's not their like first thought of her.
Yeah.
It's also when you think about it, it's kind of like the photo, because I mean, every athlete like takes photos and posts them and stuff, and like it's the photo shoots that the people like, you know, that are kind of in charge of those athletes are having them do. And you see it like through like women, like they're very sexualized in that way, and they're like what they're wearing or the poses they're posing in are very like sexualized, when men like aren't that way, I would say.
Yeah, like when they're like using them, I think
they're using their body for like the photos and
like for men it's more like action shots than like playing their sport, and then for women it's like
or like a live clip from the game or something.
Yeah,
it's
and for women it's like a photo
football.
shoot with them like makeup on, like they gotta look good.
Hair done,
Yeah.
like
But
they're
few
not
clips
playing.
in there.
and not much clothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I could not tell what question you read. I'm sorry.
Sorry, no,
Marine
explore.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I don't think that affects their credibility or legitimacy as athletes at all. I mean, it's just unfortunate because they might think it, like, if you see that happening or you see that happening around you, like you might start to wonder about your credibility as an athlete.
Yeah.
But
I think it's-
obviously, like that doesn't discount
I
anything.
feel like it get like it doesn't, but I feel like in like to the viewer though, I feel like it kind of does though. You know what I'm saying? Because like you see that and you're like oh look at her, like she looks so not like pretty and like sweet, like she's no way she's like a like really competitive like opponent, you know?
Yeah. You can also think of it as like, oh, look at her, she's like trying so hard, like you know what I mean? Like it come off in a negative way too, and that can jeopardize their legitimacy as
It's
an
like,
athlete.
oh, she doesn't care about her sport.
Yeah,
she just wants to look pretty.
She just wants to be famous, like stuff like that. I feel like that might be more common, at least for girls, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
that was a really good way to like put it.
This is like a thought that may or may not be valid, but I remember like in high school, like friends of mine that are females would like judge other players on like, for example, like a soccer team, like because like one was like attractive or like, and it was like a male coach. The male coach would start the attractive female because like discounting her ability just because she was attractive. Like, that was like a common thought.
Yeah, it's gross.
yeah, definitely. Like I feel like I low key have seen that too when I played volleyball for so long.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't all coaches or but people would definitely like be like,
but
like kind of
people would just like use that as a theory.
Yeah,
or
for sure.
I feel like I've heard girls like discredit others too, like in a sports setting, just based off like looks too. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like, oh, look at her like
She looks
makeup.
so dumb.
You know, like I know because a lot like in cheer, like makeup's like a pretty big thing. I feel like I've just heard girls kind of like gossiping about like stuff like that, like discounting them when that like doesn't have to do with your actual like
Actual sport, like
you know?
talent,
Yeah.
100%.
I definitely like feel like I've experienced that like in my own, like when I play volleyball with like my teammates maybe doing that to like other teams more and like being like, oh shoot, like she's bad, like she doesn't, like stuff like that. Her hair looks stupid, like I don't know.
I feel like for guys, it's like the exact opposite. Like if he has like a good fit, I'm like, oh, that guy's probably like good at the sport. It's it kind of is like completely opposite of one another. Let's see here.
What time is it leaving?
It's 20 minutes and 15 seconds.
Okay, so one of the questions says that social media is extremely relevant in today's day and age. Discuss the role of social media in shaping the image of female athletes. How does it challenge traditional norms? How does it reinforce?
I mean, like as we were saying earlier,
Yeah,
not that much has
that's
really
like-
changed. Like over the course of
Yeah.
like since social media came along, it's obviously maybe brought to light more female athletes, but again, that's not a lot of it's because of how they look, which is not how it should be. And it's still just super unbalanced, I feel like.
But I do feel like it is like super important because like kind of obviously we touched on it a bit, but like the more you're exposed to things and stuff, like the more it kind of like changes your perception and stuff, and like I mean I'm just gonna be honest, like blatantly honest, like growing up, like I don't know, like no one I know ever, like I know we keep touching like WNBA, like Caitlin Clarkson, but like no one ever, like at least the people I know, like no one cared about girls basketball, and like I don't know, just seeing it more and more, like it's like kind of changed my perception, like oh, like this is actually like kind of cool, like dang, like she's really talented, like that's crazy. Like I don't know if you guys ever saw that video though of her like doing the 3-point contest or something, and I think she might have like shot better than Curry or like
That was
something
Sabrina. That was the Sabrina girl. Yeah,
Oh, really?
That
It
was
was
cool.
something
Yeah,
else. But
I
yeah,
think so, yeah.
I don't know, I just thought it was great. Like even it, like I don't know, a lot of people like discredit the woman, like oh it's a smaller ball, like oh this or that, like it's like the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Has Steph Curry not been shooting that ball, his whole life?
I think the other thing that people like forget to know is like, they always like make this comparison between like male and female sports, but it's like if you like look at like genetically, like males are bigger than females, so they're like making an adjustment for size.
Yeah, there
so
doesn't
like,
have to be a
just,
comparison
like,
between the two.
yeah, there's always a
No, yeah.
comparison, and they just like I feel they should just look like
'Cause
innate ability of the athlete and just base it
Mhm.
off that, and not
Yeah.
compare the two genders because clearly there's like biological differences.
There's definitely like certain sports like women are better in and might be like more recognized for because of that, and then like males.
Yeah,
whatever, but-
100%.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't discredit.
No, 100%.
Like
Ability.
women athletes that are in male dominated sports either,
Yeah.
because like they're just as talented. It's
Yeah.
just they
Just
like
might be different.
Yeah.
it's just different for them.
I feel like we kind of bring up a big, like an important point that like by making like comparisons between like male and female like sports and like accolades in like those sports, we kind of like diminish like some of those rewards because like oh like a man did this, like oh so like that woman's accomplishment is like not as
It's
like
like less.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like but like it could be way like harder to do that in a woman's sport, but like because it's less than the man's, maybe like it's not seen as like as like
No, yeah,
I'm
I know what
looking
you're
for,
saying. Yeah.
yeah, like as much of a feat or accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's definitely
No.
valid. Like that's definitely like a way you have to think of things too. Kind of being like, I
You
don't
have to
know.
put it like in its. You can't like compare it
Put
to
its
something
own
else. Like
category.
keep it in like put it in its own perspective.
Mhm.
I feel like
Sorry,
Yeah. No, I just feel like I hear that a lot. People talk about like the Michael Jordan versus LeBron debate. Like who's the GOAT, and like it's like different eras too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, good
You
point.
can't-
there's like a lot to like you're like comparing.
It's a fact.
And like a lot has changed.
Yeah,
Probably
even if it's
between
the
this
same
time.
sport. Yeah, like so much has changed.
Yeah.
I would also say that like in shaping images of female athletes, social media also helps at the same time because it brings recognition to like abilities that you may not have heard about.
Yeah.
If there was like if you couldn't have seen it on social media, like with all the popularity of campfire, it could like motivate more women to play basketball or go shoot more, like this and that. So I feel like it also does go like both ways to an extent.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely feel like there's like a positive and negative side to it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like, there's definitely, for social media, I think, like, there's a lot of positives of it because it does, like, offer a platform for, like, really anyone can go viral anytime for anything. So, like, it does offer a platform for more, like, I don't know, creativity,
Free.
change, yeah,
like to express yourself.
exposure. Like, it
Yeah.
honestly it offers a lot of exposure, but it can also help, like, I feel like on social media, people tend to listen to what other people are saying, and they all just kind of like people like to say the same thing as
Like that
everyone.
herd
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah, there's a big herd mentality on social media. So if there's stereotypes or biases, or like people are like people are expressing their traditional views or like negative stereotypes of women athletes or women sports, a lot, like, people will just jump on the train and will be sexist and not like
Yeah.
a lot of negativity on social media too, which is obviously not good.
Yeah, I also feel like as fast as you could go viral and get popular, you could get like you
Just
could
so
be
much
like
hate. Yeah.
hated and
Yeah.
like what's it called when they like I don't even know canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canceled. You can be canceled just as
100%.
fast. So like I feel like that's something that like athletes need to be like super aware of.
Mhm.
And like when they're like posting stuff or like putting
Yeah.
things out there because like
Mhm.
they need to like really be aware of like their image through that because social media can make them better, but it can also like destroy them as an athlete, which is kind of crazy that a platform can do that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when you say that, I think of when I'm on like Instagram or something, I'm looking at like they post something about like the WNBA or something like that, and like I look in the comments and there'll just be like so many sexist comments, like so many people saying how like they don't care, they don't want to see that. It's like unbelievable. Like I would have never thought that there was that much just like hate out there,
Yeah.
but you just see so much of it, and it's just like if I was that athlete like in that video or in that picture or whatever, and I saw that, I'd be like, wow, like this is crazy.
You're like, wow, I'm like,
do I really like?
Yeah.
it
It's
makes
like,
you kind of hate yourself. in a
yeah,
way,
it's like crazy. I would
Yeah.
feel so bad about myself.
Dude.
you can also like it could also be like your personal life can be like somehow put on there, like someone or someone
Yeah.
can make up a story
Or,
about
like,
you.
There's like been instances where like people will find their address and then send them like a hate crime for like if they like I think it was like the World Series with like the Cubs, like the fan like interfered on the ball or something, and then like the Cubs lost the game, but you had life threats like sent to his house.
Oh, like it's like dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like what you were talking about. Like I remember, like I think there was a video on like
Yeah,
I'm
2
trying to think
minutes
like
left.
Bleacher Report, whatever I like follow, and like is like someone handing out like would you rather have WNBA tickets or like a
$1, yeah,
yeah,
I've seen
like
that.
$1, and you know how many people were like, I'll just take the $1, and like and I like would go check out the comments, and it was just so much hate. Like
Yeah, it's just
no
so
one
much
likes the
negativity.
WNBA. Like who watches women's basketball? Women's basketball sucks. Like this if you hate this post. Like stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like it's like it really is like a herd mentality, and like I don't know,
Yeah.
just by more exposure and stuff, I feel like, and more recognition, like I don't know, I feel like kind of like that kind of mentality will like decrease, you know, over time, and like I feel like we can kind of start to realize like the accomplishments in women's sport, like not even just women's basketball, but like you know what I'm saying. That's kind
All
of like
sports,
this is kind of showing that like right now that's all the media we're all kind of seeing. you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
100%.
And like I don't know what's going on with tennis right now. Like I haven't heard anything about that. Like there's so many other sports too.
And they all have the same like something's going on with them, just as big as like you know like any NBA team or whatever. Like it's just.
So I do kind of a women's sport I would like to bring recognition to. I wrestle, and like women's wrestling is something that like is super like marginalized. Like in high school wrestling, like the boy, like we have we had our high school men's team, and like you have the men's wrestlers, and then there's like 2 or 3 girls in the room, and it's like they don't really get much attention like devoted to them, and like they don't get their own practice time. Like they don't have separate coaches, they don't have like their own distinct tournaments. Like it's like occasionally like they actually get a chance to like go and compete, and it's it's just like it does still show like this discrepancy even in like an age with like Title IX and stuff, and like especially for like I bet women's like college wrestling too. I don't even know if like there's really even teams.
Yeah.
We're into our like last
Let's just
I
cover
guess we
one more
finish it.
question.
Well, I mean, she said at like the end of the 3 or 4 minutes to identify one takeaway that we had from the conversation. If we have any questions for the
Oh,
professor.
okay.
Okay, do you want to start?
Yeah.
One takeaway from what?
Just our,
this whole-
just our
this whole
discussion. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean my takeaway is just kind of like I thought we had a really good discussion, but really it's just how honestly, because I like most of this stuff I'd already kind of thought about before, just like throughout this week of like homework and stuff for this class, but I didn't really think about how social media can kind of be like a double-edged sword in a way. How it can have a positive impact like towards change, but it could also like cause a lot of negativity. I thought that was just like kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my biggest takeaway is just like the importance of like equal coverage and like, you know, how like more coverage is like more like expression and like your voice and stuff. And I don't know, I just feel like, yeah, that's just like huge, like the media coverage differences.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say like my biggest takeaway is probably like just how like much stress is probably on these athletes about what to put on social media and like what to post or what's appropriate and how much that can actually affect their reputation.
Yeah, for sure.
I think mine would just be like, for myself, just like when I look at a post of an athlete, even though it's like they're dressed up and they look nice. This is like talking about female athletes. Is just like remember that yes, like that they are attractive, but also like their skills also got them to like the stage that they're at, and just be cognizant of like why they're there. And just like just like remind myself of that. I don't know. I'm just not.
Yeah, I
Oh,
tell you, no,
stuff
that's like
like that.
that's a really good takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys have any questions?
I don't think we have any questions.
I think we're good.
Ready for this final
Yeah,
project?
Thank you.
Bye.